The following are extracts from White Eagle Teachings on Suffering. All souls have to learn from experience, and law governs life, spiritual law, and no man or woman suffers unjustly. Injustice may be apparent because you cannot see the whole of the picture, but only a very small part. You do not see what has led up to the suffering of the present day. You do not see the cause of that suffering or the result. A brother, one who would belong to the universal brotherhood, must recognize the divine law of justice, which works in perfect precision and never fails. Justice governs all life, and where there is apparent innocent suffering, remember that there is a cause. And if you cannot see the ultimate goal, remember that there is an ultimate goal, and that soul who suffers today will enter into the harvest of heaven tomorrow. Rich and glorious that harvest will be. You will ask, does this mean that I take no notice of the suffering of my brethren? If divine law controls all life, I need not interfere with my brother. I can let him suffer, and God will put it right. No. The duty of the brother is to be loving, sympathetic, courteous, kind, and helpful. At the same time, he recognizes that the brother is learning valuable lessons and will reap the benefit in due course. A perfect parable is that of the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan did not leave his brother at the roadside, saying to himself, God will take care of him, he has earned his suffering. No, indeed. The Good Samaritan poured oil on the wounds and took the sufferer to the inn. The inn stands for sanctuary, a place where the soul can receive refreshment and healing. Therefore, the Good Samaritan does not prevent the sufferer from learning the lesson, but does all in his power to show him where he can find sanctuary and receive the ministrations of the landlord. The landlord is a very kind Father, Mother, God. A question which arises in many minds is why God permits apparent undeserved suffering in the world. Because human and spiritual evolution is governed by absolute justice. Without the experience of feeling suffering on any plane, either physical, mental, or spiritual, there would be no expansion of consciousness. There would be no growing from the unconscious to the self-conscious, and from the self-conscious to the Christ consciousness. Until a soul experiences suffering, it is unconscious of suffering. It is unconscious of the feelings of its brother soul. It is unable to bind the wounds and administer healing. Pain brings illumination, understanding. Man learns through pain and suffering, as well as through happiness and joy. This brings us to the heart of our brotherhood teaching. Mankind is upon a cross in the physical life, but as a result of that crucifixion, there is born within him the fragrant rose. You look with horror at the sufferings of the world, but you do not look beyond the present when you would withhold suffering from your brother man. Would you withhold the fragrance of the rose? Would you withhold from humanity the sweetness and perfection of the rose? The crucifixion of man bears flower and fruit. If God withheld sufferings from mankind, she would also withhold the result of that suffering, which is what you are all striving for, what you are all living for, what you were all created for. That is, to enter into the indescribable joy of the Christ consciousness. It is a great gift which God has given to her children, but you cannot separate the rose from the cross. In the early stages of evolution, the rose must gradually bloom upon the cross. and in the advanced stages of evolution, the cross is absorbed into the rose, and the consciousness of Christ in man, man in Christ, is complete. Therefore, we would guide you to be dispassionate. Do not withhold your sympathy and love, but do not allow your emotions to be misplaced. Whilst you are giving love and sympathy to the suffering, remember that suffering is the way to the enlightenment, to the birth of the Christ consciousness in man. Suffering will pass, will be forgotten, except in the quality of consciousness which is born within the soul as a result of suffering. The question arises, is it not possible to attain this consciousness by the way of love and happiness? Yes, it is, but God gave man free will, and man chose self-will. Therefore, man chose the way of suffering. But so wise and loving is God that she succors man, blesses man, and leads him away from suffering to the joy of heaven. So we are permitted to come to you from the world of spirit to bring you that power which will lift you up and give peace of mind, strength of body. But it is not enough that we bring you the power. You, on your part, must strive to realize your true life. You believe in an invisible life, an invisible power which will heal you of aches and pains, inharmonies, confusion. But this power needs to have a point of entry. You have to prepare your body, your mind, your soul for the inflow of this divine healing. There are many who seek healing without recognizing this fundamental truth that they are spirit, that they have as much to do with their own healing as any healer who tries to help them. It is not in accord with divine law for the body to be healed completely without the soul's cooperation. Before the body can be wholly restored, you must play your part. The soul must learn the lesson sickness was designed to teach. Pray, therefore, that you may understand the cause and purpose of your sickness or unhappiness. And remember that whatever your karma, it is good. It is an opportunity given you by divine law to grow in spirit. Whatever you're ill, its cause is the same, and the power that heals is the same. But God moves in mysterious ways to perform miracles and uses many ways to heal, to repair the life, to open the vision, to develop the character, and bring man's soul at last to the realization of her glory. Peace, my brethren, peace be in your hearts, and know that God is good. Amen.
So, my topic today is pain and suffering. Probably not the most pleasant of topics, I know, but I hope by the time I finish to leave you with a bit of hope. Most people use the words pain and suffering synonymously, as if they are one and the same. I'd like you to take just a moment to reflect on what you think is the difference, if any, between pain and suffering. There's a proverb that has been misattributed to the Buddha that says, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. It turns out that the Buddha did not actually say this, and no one's really sure who said it first, but it does fit with many spiritual beliefs. The message is that pain is a part of life that everyone will experience at some point. Whether or not we have to suffer from the pain that comes our way, though, is a choice and up to us. Many of you know that I have lupus, and in the last few years I've experienced a tremendous amount of joint pain throughout my body. I've dealt with fatigue and weakness, difficulty breathing, and itchy red rashes. I've spent many days lying in a recliner, not able to do much of anything. And there were many days when just walking to the kitchen and getting something that I could eat so that I could take prescription medications and supplements was all that I achieved in a day. For a year and a half, I would say I had nothing but bad days and some not so bad days, but definitely not good days, at least concerning the pain that I've experienced in my body. Also, in the last year and a half, I haven't been able to work, so I've had no income of my own. This added a financial stress on top of the physical health challenges I've been facing. But somewhere along the way, as I had less and less in the way of material wealth, a sense of peace began to come over me. Having nothing in the way of money, but also having reduced the demands in my life to practically nothing, seems to have cleared away the distractions of this world. The pain in my body forced me to be fully present in each moment to what was happening with me physically. I won't claim that I was completely free of concerns for the past and future, but the pain I've experienced has been so overwhelming that I had little energy to give to those concerns. When I couldn't do much of anything, my perception regarding priorities and what was important in life shifted drastically. I started to see how we fill our lives with appointments, activities, and an endless supply of things to distract us from being present with others and with God. In the book Heal Thyself, White Eagle says, quote, "Although you may endure pain while in your physical body, we hope that you will do so with courage and that you will accept the problems that face you, not exactly as a challenge, but as an opportunity from which you can learn wisdom and attain mastery," unquote. I have long believed that the purpose of my life is my spiritual evolution. Learning wisdom and attaining mastery is my primary goal for this life. That stated goal may well be the cause of the health challenges I'm facing, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I won't make any claims about attaining any particular levels of mastery, but the sense of peace I've acquired from my experiences is truly a wonder. I have a greater sense of trust in God and in the universe to take care of me than I've ever had in my life before. I'll give you an example. A little over a year ago, I was really in a difficult place financially. I wasn't able to work and I had very little money. And the difficulty involved in getting approved for disability is pretty well known in the public, I think. It's generally known that it can take a year or more, several years sometimes, for a person to get approved for disability. Because I was a teacher in Texas, paying into Texas teacher retirement system and not into Social Security, I don't qualify for Social Security disability. But I had to qualify for the label of disability to qualify for Supplemental Security Insurance, or SSI. Then something that seemed practically unheard of happened. I qualified for SSI in less than 3 months from the date I initially applied. The amount of money I received through SSI is still not enough to pay rent, so I still have to rely on the generosity of others to have a place to sleep. But I do believe that God works through human beings to serve other human beings. And getting approved for SSI so quickly, to me, was a sign that God was going to take care of me. When I couldn't take care of myself. I have moments, hours, even days, when I feel down, depressed, or discouraged. Life has its ups and downs, as we all know. And I certainly continue to have many frustrations with my body, the pain I experience, and the inability to do things I would like to be able to do. But more often than not, even with great pain, I am not suffering, because suffering is a choice. Suffering is made worse when we demand that life be different than it is. When we make demands on ourselves about how we should have been in the past and what we should do in the future, we create suffering for ourselves. I was reminded this weekend, actually, that depression is regret over the past and anxiety is fear about the future. Pain occurs in the body and can also include mental illness, but suffering, I believe, occurs solely in the mind. There are many things in life that we have no control over, yet our attempts to exert control where we have none cause suffering. You may not have experienced the level of physical pain or health challenges that I have. I sincerely hope you haven't. But we all face challenges, and life does bring pain in some form or another to each of us. My wish for you is that you can see the gifts to be found in your pain, and that you choose not to exacerbate that pain with suffering. I've often said my secret weapon against lupus is gratitude. On any given day, if I can find some small thing to be grateful for, it can change my whole outlook. Another example, a couple of years ago, before my symptoms worsened and prevented me from traveling, I was traveling and staying with friends. But I had a particularly bad day physically. I was in pain, it hurt to move, and I needed to be doing my work as a freelance editor. I was staying with a dear friend, though, who allowed me to just be. I was in so much pain, but I was able to access gratitude for having a safe and comfortable home to stay in. I imagined for a moment how much worse my pain could be if I were truly homeless, out on the street without air conditioning, without a friend who was willing to support me and feed me that day. While I don't recommend dwelling too much on how much worse things could be, for me that day it was what I needed in order to access gratitude, thereby minimizing my actual suffering. In Heal Thyself, White Eagle says, we're going to give you a very simple formula for health. It is this: to live thankfully. When a heart beats with thankfulness for its creation and for all life's experiences, a light shines from the very center of the being, which illuminates the whole life. Your burdens weary the flesh and the mind, but they will all be swept away when the heart opens in thankfulness for life's experience, for the sweetness and beauty it brings. I've done a lot of personal growth work over the years, and my teachers tried to convince me that I can be grateful for negative experiences in my life, but I really struggled with this concept. To see a silver lining in a dark cloud, sure, I could see how God can use our negative experiences and help us to find the good that can come out of them. But that doesn't make the negative experience itself good, does it? I think I can say, though, now that I am indeed grateful for the pain and health challenges I've faced. I've recently entered into a training program to become a spiritual director, something I don't think I would have done if my health had not become such a painful challenge. My pain has brought me closer to God. I now experience a richer, deeper connection with all that is, and I am grateful. In Heal Thyself, White Eagle also says, let peace fill your heart and mind and life. God never makes a mistake. If you do not understand, be patient and wait. In due time, the light will shine and you will understand. I don't know truly why I've had the experience with my health that I've had and continue to have. But one lesson I've learned is that why is a very ineffective prayer. The question why takes us into the past, where we tend to dwell on concepts of blame. White Eagle does teach that our current circumstances may be due to our earned karma. But the past is done and we can't change it. Dwelling on the past only serves to keep us from moving forward. Much better to focus our attention on the present moment and how we want to be now and in the future. Much better to ask God how. How can you bring healing to this situation? Show me, God, how this situation can get better, or how I can make peace with this situation. I, for one, am practicing patience, and I trust that all my lessons will be revealed to me in due time. And I have learned many lessons about patience, compassion, gratitude, faith, and peace, but I still don't really know why I'm in this place. I trust, though, that my job is to be present in each moment to my experiences. I don't believe when my life is done that I will be asked to account for what life has brought my way, but I will be asked to account for how I responded to life, what I have done with the experiences that have come my way. There's a well-known quote by Charles Swindoll where he says, quote, "Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it," end quote. I would say, a bit to the contrary, that on the spiritual path, life is 100% how we respond to what happens in our lives. When pain comes our way, it is within our power to not choose suffering. Come with me on a short journey of gratitude into your body. Start by taking 3 slow, deep, even breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. As you breathe in, let your diaphragm fill up and then empty on your out breath. And one more time, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Settle comfortably into your seat. Let your hands rest on your lap. Notice if any particular part of your body wants attention. Is there an ache, a stiffness, or even a pain? If you can, give it a gentle stretch to see if that helps to loosen any stiffness. Breathe into that space and breathe out any worries. As we move along, imagine sending white light to every molecule, cell, tissue, organ, gland, and system in your body. Wiggle your toes and silently in your mind say, "Thank you," to your toes and your feet that support your body as you walk and stand through life. Move your attention to your calves and knees, which allow you to bend, sit, and stand, and silently tell them, "Thank you." Next, bring your attention to your thighs, hamstrings, and hips, and silently tell them, "Thank you." They bear the weight of your whole body, allow you to move through your life, through your day. They allow you to sit, stand, walk, and maybe they even allow you to go hiking or to dance. Move your attention to the area between your hips, between your pelvic bone and your navel. This whole bowl of primal energy supports your foundation. See this bowl filled with light. Bring your attention to your torso, the entire space from your hips up to your neck. Your torso houses all these vital organs that keep your body functioning optimally. Your stomach and intestines, liver, kidneys, spleen, lungs, and heart. See this entire area filled with light. Silently tell all of these organs, "Thank you," for keeping you alive and healthy. Send light through your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers, and silently thank them for all they allow you to do each day. Bring your attention to your neck and head. They support your thinking capacity and keep your whole body and organs functioning. They allow you to dream and imagine. They allow you to hear and communicate with others. See them filled with light. Silently tell them thank you. Bring your attention now to the crown of your head. Move your attention out and above, where you will find that you are connected to the six-pointed star, the Christ light of consciousness. It is this connection to the Christ star that allows you to share from your heart with your fellow human beings, to share love and healing, to share compassion and dispassion. Silently say thank you to this part of you, the higher mind that connects you with Spirit. Allow the white light of Christ consciousness to come down with your attention into your heart center. Let it expand until it surrounds your whole body like an egg of brilliant white light. As you go into your day, into your week, let this egg of light that surrounds you also nourish you in heart and mind. Let it protect you from anything that is less than that light. And let it guide you in your thoughts, words, and actions. Amen.